Welcome to AmdiVibes.
This is the story of a man you have almost certainly never heard of. A quiet, ordinary Soviet military officer who, on one single night in 1983, made a decision in about 30 seconds that saved every single human being alive on this planet, including you, including me, including everyone you have ever loved. This is not an exaggeration. This is exactly what happened. Close your eyes and imagine this. It is the middle of the night. You are sitting alone in a dark bunker outside Moscow. On the screen in front of you, alarms are screaming. Red lights are flashing everywhere. The most sophisticated nuclear early warning system in the Soviet Union is telling you clearly, definitively, with full confidence that the United States of America has just launched nuclear missiles at your country. Your orders are simple. If this happens, you report it immediately to your superiors. They launch a retaliatory strike. Within minutes, nuclear warheads are falling on American cities. Within hours, America retaliates again. Within days, most of human civilization is gone. You have seconds to decide. The computer says it is real. Your orders say report it, but something in your gut says wait. What do? It starts in the Soviet Union, 1939. Stanislav Petrov is born into a military family in a country that is about to be consumed by the most devastating war in human history. He grows up in the shadow of World War II, comes of age during the terrifying paranoia of the Cold War, and eventually becomes a lieutenant colonel in the Soviet Air Defense Forces. He is not a hero in the Hollywood sense. He is not dashing or dramatic. He is quiet, methodical, and precise, a man who thinks carefully before he speaks and trusts logic over emotion. He is exactly the kind of person you would want sitting in front of a nuclear early warning system. And on September 26, 1983, that is exactly where he is. But before we go into that bunker, AmdiVibes needs you to understand the world that Stanislav Petrov is living in. Because without that context, you cannot fully feel the weight of what he is about to do. It is 1983. The Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union has reached one of its most dangerous and paranoid peaks in history. Both sides have thousands of nuclear warheads pointed at each other. Both sides genuinely believe the other might strike at any moment. The tension is so thick that military commanders on both sides are operating on hair triggers, ready to respond to any sign of attack within minutes. Just 3 weeks before this night, the Soviet military had shot down a Korean passenger aircraft that accidentally entered Soviet airspace, killing all 269 people on board, including a United States congressman. The international outcry is massive. Relations between the superpowers are at their absolute worst point in years. American President Ronald Reagan has recently called the Soviet Union an evil empire. Soviet leadership genuinely believes America is preparing for a first strike. The world is a powder keg, and Stanislav Petrov is sitting next to the match. It is just after midnight on September 26th. Petrov is the duty officer at SAP-UK HOVI-15, a secret Soviet bunker that monitors the OKO nuclear early warning satellite system. Around him are 200 soldiers and operators. He is in charge. At 12:14 AM, the silence is shattered. The alarm system screams to life. On Petrov's screen, one word appears in large bright letters: launch. The system is reporting that a single nuclear missile has been launched from the United States toward the Soviet Union. Petrov's heart rate spikes. His training kicks in. He picks up the phone to report it to his superiors, and then something stops him. Something quiet and logical underneath all the noise and flashing lights. He thinks, why would America launch just one missile? If the United States was launching a nuclear first strike, the most consequential military action in human history, why would they send one missile? It made no strategic sense. He decides to wait. The seconds stretch like hours. Then the system updates. Now it is showing not one missile, but 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. 5 nuclear missiles, the system says with complete confidence, are currently in the air and heading toward the Soviet Union. The operators around Petrov are panicking. The noise in the bunker is overwhelming. People are looking at him, waiting for him to pick up that phone. His orders are clear. The system is screaming at him. 5 missiles. The United States is attacking. Report it. Report it now. Petrov grips the phone, and he does not report it. Sit with that for a second. Feel the weight of that moment. 200 people in that bunker looking at him. Alarms screaming. A system designed by the greatest Soviet scientists telling him with total confidence that nuclear war has begun. And one man, gripping a telephone, choosing to trust his gut over the machine, He later described what was going through his mind in those moments.
He said the system was only showing 5 missiles. He said a real attack would involve far more. He said the system was relatively new, and he knew it had not been fully tested under real conditions. He said he had a feeling, not a certainty, just a feeling that something was wrong. He also said something else, something that is perhaps the most honest and human thing about this entire story. He said he was terrified that he was wrong.
For 23 agonizing minutes, Stanislav Petrov sits in that bunker and refuses to report a nuclear attack to his superiors.
23 minutes of the most intense psychological pressure any human being has ever experienced. 23 minutes during which, if he is wrong, nuclear warheads are already falling, and he has just cost his country its chance to respond.
Then the satellites confirm what he suspected. No missiles,
No launch.
no attack.
A malfunction in the Soviet satellite system caused by a rare alignment of sunlight reflecting the clouds in a way that the system misread as missile launches had triggered the most dangerous false alarm in human history.
Stanislav Petrov was right.
The world did not end at night.
Now here is where the story takes a turn that will make your blood boil.
You would expect that a man who just saved the world would be celebrated,
Decorated, honored, given a hero's welcome. Instead, Stanislav Petrov is quietly reprimanded, not for what he did, but because in the chaos of that night, he had not filled out his logbooks correctly.
bureaucracy.
Paperwork. The Soviet military machine was deeply uncomfortable with the entire incident.
Petrov is reassigned to a less sensitive position. He takes early retirement shortly after.
He develops depression. His wife becomes seriously ill.
He spends years struggling quietly in a small apartment outside Moscow, working odd jobs, largely unknown to the world.
The man who saved civilization is repairing equipment and growing vegetables in his garden.
The world does not find out what Stanislav Petrov did until 1998, 15 years after the incident, when a Soviet general publishes his memoirs and mentions it almost in passing.
Researchers and journalists pick up the thread.
Slowly, the story begins to emerge.
In 2004, Petrov is invited to the United Nations in New York, where he receives a World Citizen Award. He is visibly uncomfortable with the attention.
When reporters ask him if he considers himself a hero, he shakes his head and says quietly, "I was just doing my job." He visits Germany.
He meets with documentary filmmakers.
He gives interviews in which he is thoughtful, humble, and slightly bewildered by all the fuss. He says that he does not feel like he deserves special credit, because any reasonable person would have done the same thing.
But here is the truth that Stanislav Petrov could never quite accept about himself.
Not any reasonable person would have done what he did, because in that bunker, on that night, with those alarms screaming and those 200 people watching and those orders sitting in his hands, almost any other person would have picked up that phone.
He didn't.
And we are all alive because of it. Stanislav Petrov dies on May 19, 2017, in his small apartment outside Moscow.
He is 77 years old.
For several months, nobody even realizes he has died.
A German journalist who had befriended him calls his number in September 2017 to wish him happy birthday, and his son answers and says, "My father died in May. The man who saved the world died alone, and it took a world months to notice." On the surface, this is a thriller.
A Cold War story, a tale of nuclear near misses and bureaucratic injustice. But underneath all of that, this is a story about something much more personal and much more relevant to your life right now. It is a story about the courage to trust yourself when every system around you is telling you something different.
Think about what Petrov faced in that moment. He had a computer built by experts, designed by scientists, validated by the Soviet military machine telling him with complete confidence that he was wrong. He had his orders written by people far above him, in rank and authority, telling him exactly what to do.
He had 200 people in that room looking at him, waiting for him to follow the protocol. And he looked at all of that and said, "I don't think this is right." How many times in your life have you been in a version of that bunker?
Where every system around you, society, family expectations, other people's opinions, the conventional path is screaming at you to do one thing, and something quiet inside you says, "Wait, this doesn't feel right." Most people pick up the phone. Most people follow the protocol.
Most people do what they are told because the machine seems so much more certain than the small quiet voice inside them. Stanislav Petrov listened to the small quiet voice.
And it saved the world. You are not being asked to prevent nuclear war,
but you are being asked every single day to trust yourself, to pause before you react, to think before you follow, To question what the machine is telling you when your gut says something different. That quiet moment of hesitation, that decision to wait, to think, to trust your instincts over the noise around you might not save the world.
But it might save your world.
And sometimes that is enough.